Jose, there have obviously been some very mixed messages coming back from both Brazilian airports and the Uruguayan border business over the last year, and especially with the falling value of the real. How optimistic are you that this business will come back quickly and that the Brazilian arrivals allowance increase from $500 to $1,200 will pass into law?
Well, one of the main things we must understand is we had huge increase for the last 4 years. So now when we have an increase or a small increase of 1 digit, we are all afraid. So first of all, it's normal that a business that grows in some moment has to. On the other side, we are all very dependent in Latin America, the exchange rate, you know. And the Brazilian devaluation in a period of 3 months was very huge in terms of percentage, but now it's going down. So people what to say, they say, I won't buy. They say, well, let me see what is going to happen. So we have a lot of people that in Brazil that went to the branch for the first time. 35 million people of medium class traveling. So that people will continue traveling. Not at the same, maybe, at the same amount, but they will. So everything will go back to a normal situation. It's just as the glass. It's not empty, it's not full. You have to share sometimes, okay? So the borders are doing well. It's not spectacular, but they're doing well. The airports are moving also. We had in Uruguay the problem with their local airline.
I'm sorry?
With the local airline Pluna that dropped down.
Right, okay.
So but now for this year, the airport is showing the recovers of all the passengers and increasing passengers. So I would say there is not a red light in the future. No, it's not in the short term. No, things are accommodating. You know, people are accommodating. People cannot all the time spend a lot of money. But things will. I am very optimistic, and in the question of because Brazil was going to $100,000, well, you know, Brazil, the original agreement of Mercosur is that the allowances, the minimum was $300. There's no maximum. The minimum. That's the only thing that says the Mercosur agreement. Okay. So Brazil has some years ago went to $500. Uruguay 2 years ago to $500. We are chasing some other countries. Chile, that's not a permanent member, it's not an associated member of the Mercosur, has another one. And Brazil has made a decision from the Senate to get an increase of the allowances for the arrivals, only for the arrivals, okay? In one side, well, they see that this is a manner to develop, there's a lot of huge increase of the investment in airports, in stores, and et cetera, and that's money. It's a way of also the government to recover a lot of money. The government recovers a lot of money with the sales of the duty-free, and the airport also.
I understand it. So really, what you're saying is that in your view, there is a recovery that you can foresee quite soon.
And also will be a recovery. You know, next year is the World Championship of Football in Brazil. It's a lot of tourism. We're going to have tourism in the next season all over the Mercosur. We have some, yes, of course, we have some storms. I would say 5 years ago, if I'm going to tell you Europe is going to be in a crisis, in this type of crisis, you say no, Europe will never have this type of crisis. Well, let's see what has happened.
Interesting analogy, yeah.
So I think Latin America has learned a lot of lessons. The economy has grown a lot, and now they're fixing adjustments, small fine-tuning, okay? Fine-tuning, soft landing somewhere, but things are doing well.
So do you think recovery times are faster in Latin America now than when Latin America was so linked with the United States, for instance?
Of course, I would say in the past Latin America was like a heartbeat. Now things are going swallow. Governments and politics have learned the lesson. The debt of the countries has went down. They are more open. So there's a lot of things that in the horizon we won't have a crisis, a big crisis.
Well, let's move on to a place where the debt is probably a little bit more serious, and that's Argentina. Historically, Uruguay has been quite dependent on Argentina for much of its tourism revenue. What does the future hold for Argentina with such high inflation rates at present, in your view?
Let me say, Doug, some things. First of all, Uruguay is more economic dependent from Brazil than from Argentina, but we're more psychological dependent from Argentina,
Okay.
because we receive all the media, all the TV programs, all the news, all what is, I always say, all of the mode, you know, casual things, Argentine tourism to Punta del Este. That's at this moment the debt of Argentina is not so big. It's less than 2001, but much less than 2001. The problem is the inflation rate and the loss of reserves at this moment. At this moment, Uruguay only owns 11% of the exports from Uruguay go to Argentina. Only 11. The main customer of Uruguay in export custom good is China. Afterwards, Brazil. It comes European Union, state, blah blah. And Argentina is less than 11% today.
I understand that, but it's
But that's export good.
It's a tourism.
The other side, you have the tourism.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we expect that we're going to lose 10% of the tourism, but the Uruguayan government and the authorities of tourism are doing some movement to compete with the credit card in a lot of 10 times, a lot of movements. Some small cities are doing some special checks. The Uruguayan government is going to give you a bonus of fuel, etc., etc. Indeed, Argentina wants people not to travel outside Argentina and to leave the dollar. But we have some dollars of the Argentine in Uruguay, and they have plenty of houses, of flats, and Punta del Este, so we lose some tourism. That's okay, but we should not be terrific.
There is a problem when an economy struggles to the degree that Argentina has, though, isn't there, when with utilities such as the airlines, for instance. I mean, they are not going to recover quickly, are they?
You know, with Carlos Meconian, the Argentine economist, thought Argentina needs a soft landing and to manage a lot of things, because Argentina is Uruguay and also as Brazil. You know, the primary sector of the economy is the main thing. The values are still good, but they need to do some fix. Mainly, all the internal subsidies they have, the trains, the buses, etc., that cost a lot of money to the Argentine state. No? But always, when you have a country in the region that has a crisis, it has its effects.
So moving away from the economic problems in Brazil, Argentina and Uruguay, the Pacific economies of Chile, Peru and Colombia, along with the northern neighbours, Mexico, seem to be weathering the storm somewhat better, with passengers up at the airports of Santiago, Lima, Bogota, Mexico City and Cancun. Long question. Short question, in Pricey, are you optimistic this trend will continue?
Yes, I would say that the Pacific economy, at this moment, they are doing better, and they have a good strength versus Mercosur. Chile, Peru, Colombia are doing well. Cancun, as I said, with the airports, moving a lot of tourism, República Dominicana, so they're receiving. Also, one of the things is each country may have some agreement with the European Union. Colombia is doing now one, and Peru also, but as a global association or as a global area, they are doing also an agreement. And they're doing an agreement also, and they're talking about with the European, with the United States and Canada to do also. So they are moving. I would say they are more open economies than Brazil and Argentina. Uruguay is in the Mercosur, and it's an open economy, but it's a small piece of cotton between two big stones, they say, and then they have closed economies. So they are moving faster to open their economies. Chile, it's a lot of years, no? But the rest. And also, if you analyze in terms of political view, Correa, that is the president of Ecuador, he in a political way, he is more proxy to Venezuela, to Bolivia, but in economic view, you know, the dollar is an official currency there. He's more aligned with Chile and Peru and Colombia. So they are moving, and they're doing well. They're doing well, and I'm very optimistic of the region.
So do you think that the broadening of their economies has been a game changer for those economies?
Yes.
Because it used to be very dependent on the United States, didn't it?
No, but they are moving to a lot. You know, Chile is an open economy, absolutely integrated to the world. I think they don't have a commercial agreement with 3 or 4 countries in the world. Chile. Peru is moving quickly. Colombia is moving quickly. You know, Ecuador has its problem, but it's moving, and the rest of the economies are opening. So I am very optimistic. I would say that Latin America, the global continent, with some difference and some particularities, you know, you have some difference with language in Brazil or some difference of the economy, but in general it's doing good. We are an emerging market, you know, and some people say, well, what is an emerging market? Well, it's the economies that are doing well, that they're improving, that the government are not doing the mistakes they did in the past. No?
And also new consumers coming to the market. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are the most important priorities now, would you say, for Asutil, including maybe this new big conference that you're going to have on the Uruguayan border? And what would you personally like to see achieved most this year?
Well, this conference will do with about border shops. The border shops are increased a lot in Uruguay, and also if you have in Argentina with Puerto Iguazu. We have huge stores, all the brands, a lot of points of sales. New terms of stores, because from a normal store they are turning into shopping, big shopping, as Señoris that has cinemas, Burger King, or you have a new shopping is going to be built in Rivera that inside has 2 duty-free stores. So it's a new concept, I would say. It's a new development. London Supply is duplicating its area, the building of its area, with parking down the store. So it's a great development. So we decided with the Camera of the Border Store, well, let's start to put this main theme over the table. And what we're going to do is a small conference. It's only by invitation. We are not, you can't pay and go. It's only by invitation. We're inviting authorities from Uruguay, from Brazil, from Argentina. We're taking an economist from Brazil, one from Argentina, to talk about the terms of interchange.
Is this brainstorming or?
No. It's just, they will not do a presentation, but they will do also between the three. We want to do. Right. So what we want is for the future to start to develop a specific this niche of the border store. You saw yesterday in the Eric Jules presentation, airlines, airport 57%, border shop 37%, worldwide. What is it? Well, in Uruguay, they are very important in terms not only of terms of sale, but of the employment in the local city, added value for the employment for young people. So it's very important. So we want to do this conference. It is the first step for future conferences we want to do, bigger of course, but we want to put this. This is an important thing to analyze, to see. Let's see how it's changing. Shoppings, big stores, good brands, and a different view. And for next year, we will present in Asutil conference the survey we're going to do about consumers all over the border shops and compare it to what we did this year versus the airport. Okay. So to show how the different customers, how they work in an airport and in the border shop.
And I would imagine that the clamour or rush for people to buy land on the Uruguayan side and also on the Brazilian side will be quite dramatic now for businesses to.
Yes, although the land continues very, very cheap there, but there's a lot of people.
This is going to create jobs, isn't it?
Yes, of course. Today, of the official employments over the border, 33% are the duty-free stores. And when you go to ages from 20 to 35, it's much, much more. So people that in that small city, the only way to increase their way of life, their economy, was to go to the capital of Montevideo. They stay there. They have contact with the brands. They develop some the training courses. So for the people, it's a very, very good thing.
Could be great.
Yeah.
Keep people in the towns, and the towns can grow. Jose, thank you very much indeed.
No, thank you.
Appreciate your time.